Hey, my friend. Okay, Diana, your video is not on.
They put me in here as the viewer.
I'm
It's
probably
recording. It's recording now.
Okay,
So
okay, great. I'm probably am I a viewer?
Or I don't know. Did it say you were a host
No.
or a moderator? Okay, well, hi, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. Well,
You can't see, you can only see like the up to the bottom of your lip.
Really? You can only see
and I know, and the top of your head. So it's like, I think you have to stand back a little or something. Move your camera back a little. Move yourself back.
What is so weird?
I know.
You mean like this?
Yeah. Now I can see kind of like to hear.
Okay. Hi, Lori.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, Lori. Welcome.
Nice to be with you. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Lori, can you see my whole face or just
I see all of you. Yeah, I saw Diana commenting. You're seeing different Katarinas.
I don't know.
Let me see. Maybe I don't have my screen maximized.
Well, anyway, Lori, happy to be with you. Tell us about you.
I am a financial planner in Orange County, and I am part of the Financial Planning Association.
Oh, wonderful.
And I wanted to participate today. We're one of those like community partners, but we're running a pro bono virtual platform for people in need, that we're doing one-on-one sessions for people in need with certified financial planners. And also we have a series of webinars that we run on Saturday mornings. Great. And so I just wanted to hang out in the expo during the breaks to let people know that that service is available, especially during this really challenging time.
Yeah.
Definitely. But anyway, for the rest of the time, I'm hanging out and learning from the rest of you.
Okay.
And I know about pivoting and finding your purpose, so.
Good. Go ahead.
Do you want to say a little bit more about that? Did you pivot?
No, I mean, I think that the whole virtual world that we're in right now, and us providing our services, our pro bono services virtually, is one of the silver linings of COVID. Like, I find these silver linings occasionally that we can, instead of driving around the community and trying to find groups where we can introduce financial literacy topics, we're able to do it from our chair. Like, it's kind of amazing. We can have 20 people on a session, and we never thought of this during COVID. I mean, before COVID, but COVID forced us to. So it gives me better purpose. I love, I run my own business and I like that, but I really love my pro bono times. My pro bono times really make me feel like the good I'm doing spreads a little farther.
Absolutely.
And I love that. Like, I love the fact that even though it's been a highly negative experience living through a pandemic, we've found these tiny ways to make a difference.
Right. I know that, so like my work, I help people to grow an authentic online presence. And one of the benefits of the pandemic has been that a lot of people who had businesses on the ground or go to office and they were kind of in a box, were forced, compelled, inspired to get out of that box and to create another stream of income. And it's, a lot of people are really getting that, gee, this is great and I want to keep this going. So that's been really exciting to see as another positive, positive outcome of this, this box that we're all trying to burst out of.
Or they've taken their business online, their existing business, not necessarily created a new business.
Exactly. Right.
So Diana, the work you did before too, right?
Yeah, correct. I'm just reaching so many more people.
So you got busier.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And and Katarina, who's my dear friend and soul sister, is a business coach of purpose-driven women. And she's also had that experience. You want to share about some?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was already doing Zoom, what I call a hybrid. I have a center in San Francisco. I was already hosting my workshops with ladies in the room and ladies on the screen.
Smart.
And it was a very easy pivot because we just closed down the center for the last year, unfortunately. But Diana and I have both been able to speak all over the country, get new clients from all over the country as a result of taking really all of our parties virtual, and what I've seen is we live in Northern California. What I've seen is that I used to have this attitude like, well, I want to have ladies that I can have to the center, or I can have, we can meet for dinner, or I can go to their workshop, and it's not, and if they're too far away, I can't do that. Well, it's true, I can't do that. But what we've been able to do is really expand our community in a different way. And of course, we've been forced to, but also provide community for women. We have a client in Ohio, she's the only one in Ohio, and she has a great community. And we have a lady from Arizona who just started her business, and she's totally rocking her business this last year and having tons of friends. And I'm her coach, but she's got all these other ladies that are also giving her support and advice. So it's been quite amazing. And I consider it a gold rush. Diana hears me talk. It's a gold rush because everybody's forced to do business this way.
Do you consider yourself life coaches?
I actually consider myself I call myself a business strategist and coach, because I'm more coach people around their growing their business, but around that, a lot of issues come up around. I'm a certified life coach, but I'm more,
I didn't know you were a certified life coach, my friend.
I am.
I didn't know that.
That's a stress response coach. How long have we known each other? 30 years.
10 years.
But the thing is that in being an entrepreneur is in and of itself a seminar, I call it.
Right.
And so I was looking at the quote, one of the quotes in the handout that they gave the handout that they gave us, the program, about, just that living a purposeful life is looking at what you do as a lifestyle, not just a job. And I really feel that, that's also what this whole pandemic has given us, is that gift of all, like you said, pushing ourselves to see where we can help besides just being in our own businesses, and seeing where we can do our pro bono and our giving. And, Katarina's community has a whole giving community too. So go ahead, Katarina.
Well, I was going to say that, I have a master's in counseling psychology, and I am a certified coach also, and I'm actually have achieved what's called being a master certified coach. And I agree with Diana. Business is both about what we do, but also about who we be. And I call myself more of a business mentor these days, because, coaching is a lot about asking questions and helping people find their own answer, and it doesn't really work for business when you don't know the answer. You could say, go find it, or I could just tell you how to do it. And I find that there's a coach wears many hats. And in my business, I wear a counselor hat very often. I wear a consultant hat. I wear a encourager hat. I wear a visionary hat. So there's a lot of hats, but I don't call myself a life coach, although there's a lot of life coaching that is part of what we do, because Diana also, we want women to shift their self-perception. Diana has to have them be willing to be loud and proud, and be out
to be
there,
visible, and to be seen, right?
And that's what I want for my clients too. And also I want them to become more certain that they have massive value to bring. As women, we often discount our massive value. And so that's something else. So there's a lot of personal transformation that's required. And Lori, I'd love to hear from you what your process, your journey. Like, I feel like now, after 30 years in business, I don't have any imposter syndrome, but a lot of young ladies talk about that. I never really felt that. but some people do. So I think it's a great entrepreneurship, and this is where the purposeful life comes in. Entrepreneurship is totally about figuring out who you are and how you want to be and how you want to be in the world. What's your journey been, Lori? Because you look like you've been doing it more than 5 minutes too.
Nah. I came at what I do from a really bizarre perspective. Let's see, I worked in hospital administration, like that was my career. I did a master's in healthcare admin back in the day, and then worked in hospital administration for about 10 years. And then I was fortunate enough to take time off to raise my kids. So I took a bunch of time off, and then I wound up on a nonprofit board. The nonprofit board was great because it was healthcare related. And then one day the CEO of the organization asked me to step in as the interim ED because she took my ED away without any sort of plan. Like the board had no clue. She took my ED and said, here, go do this instead of this. And I was like, now our program has no leadership. And I was like, how do you just do that inside the program? It's not like she got a job and got swept away. Inside the organization, they took her out. And I was like, how do you do that? And so she took me out to breakfast and she said, why don't you run it? And I wasn't working. And I'm like, that's interesting. And she said, well, it'll just be until we find somebody else. But it wound up sticking. And the board said, you know everybody, you know the board members, you know the staff, like you know everybody, and you're hugely supportive financially. So let's just do it. So I wound up doing it during a really difficult time, 08 to 12. And then late in 2011, I got a new boss that was bad. I thought he was good. He was bad. And the new boss said to me, it's a recession and everyone's budgets are struggling. So why don't you work for free?
Oh, God.
I mean, I'm not even surprised at that.
Isn't it gross?
It is gross.
It's gross. And I said to him, I've been a donor to this organization for 25 years, but I don't think you're supposed to take that into consideration in my employment. Like that's none of your business. And I was so offended that I was having lunch with him and I left. Like, I was like, this lunch is over. Like, I'm in shock. Like, So anyway, I never had any of this like abuse, like Me Too kind of abuse, but I had this kind of discrimination. And so I eventually left. Like, took me like 2 or 3 months to get my shit together, but I wound up leaving, and I wound up deciding that I needed to study personal finance because my staff wouldn't enroll in a retirement plan with a match. I couldn't get them. We had a 403B with a 6% match, and I only had about 13 staff, but I couldn't get them to enroll. And when I talked to them about why, they would say, I can't. And I wasn't smart enough to understand what I can't means. I can't means I spend all my money. I don't have any room to save. And I decided that I had to understand why you would miss out on a 6% match. So I went back to school and I did this personal financial planning curriculum. And one thing led to another. And this guy, a teacher, says to me, you're really good at this. You should get an internship. And the funny thing is I wound up getting an internship with Evelyn, the speaker.
Interesting.
The MC. And I worked with Evelyn in her office for 3 months as an intern. And then she hired me and I stayed for 3 years. But I decided that I really wanted to work with people of all levels, like anybody. And what a lot of financial planners do is focus on people with wealth. And I decided that I wanted to work with anybody that wanted to have a plan, like anybody, like seriously, anybody. And Evelyn said, not so much. So I said, I'm going out on my own. And so I left. It took some guts, but
absolutely.
It was in the end of 16. So now I run my own little thing and I'm really happy, but I love the work I do in the community and able to give back and work with lots of different people in need. And I just feel like that's the coolest part of it. I mean, I love my clients that pay for my services. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty fabulous, but the work I do with like my local United Way and meeting the needs in the community, that makes me feel like I'm doing God's work. Like I'm like doing what I was intended to do. So it was a roundabout journey, You never know what steps are going to lead where. Like you just have to be prepared to pivot. And I could pivot. I was lucky that I could pivot.
Right. It's totally awesome.
That's me. And now I had an office, just like you had an office. Like I had an office that I was paying for, and I couldn't see anyone in my office because it wasn't big enough to see people at a distance. So I was really fun. I got to pay rent for the whole year until my legs ended.
Yeah.
But anyway, now I just work from home. So
that's awesome. That's Lori, your story is very inspiring.
Yeah, it is, you know, and it's
very
well, you have to follow your passion. You have to keep thinking, what makes me feel good? What makes me feel fulfilled?
Right. It's like we each have to find the purpose, like find ourselves in our business with that sense of purpose, or our business helps facilitate something else that we're doing that is our sense of purpose. Right. But I really truly believe that we each need to have that sense of purpose. And the people who are sort of thriving through this time are the people who are in touch with their sense of purpose, because that's the pivot. The pivot is like, okay, I'm going to take me, who I be, what I do, and pivot it into another way that I can feel a sense of purpose.
And it's being in touch with what is that? That's the trick. What is it for everybody?
Right.
And Lori, my mission is kind of similar to yours. My mission is to uplift women economically. Only I do it through entrepreneurship. You know, I believe. Yeah, I believe that
there's a huge need, and I wonder how we can fill it. I want to ask you your opinion, and this could be off topic, but since there's only 3 of us, like, okay.
Yeah.
There's a huge component of immigrant people working in tourism that got screwed because of COVID. And they were minimum wage workers. And now they're minimum wage part-time workers.
Yeah.
Minimum wage part-time is not a viable option. You need to do something else. You need to get out of that industry and go do something else. And so I'm all about like finding job training opportunities, education, but I'm wondering if there's an inspirational sort of program that you provide that bridges people from what they're doing now to thinking about what their options are in the future, like just to plant a seed and think.
Interesting.
Well, see now you're using the word job. See, Diana and I, we don't use the word job like you know, Lori. I talk about, you know, leave the dark side and come to the light. Okay, so. I'm never going to help anybody get a job, okay? Because I'm all about entrepreneurship. And there's a lot of programs, and we're in Northern California, so I don't know, but there's programs up here for low-income women to help them start businesses. And there's probably some of those organizations down south as well.
Do you know if it has to be documented?
I'm sorry?
I'm not sure.
Documented.
Well,
I don't.
I'll look into
it. San Francisco is a sanctuary city, so
are we. We all
okay.
are. California.
Then you probably don't have to be.
Maybe not as good
as
you.
There's like SCORE.
Yes.
And well, you know what I was thinking, like,
but there's other ones just for low-income women. Okay. But I don't know what they are in Southern California.
But I'm also talking about like, how do you get people to start thinking that there's another way to go away from the job idea to the find your passion. This is another opportunity for you. Funding is like the next step, I feel like. But how do you talk about it?
I think one of the ways is that you find people like them that have done it. Like I'm thinking of my cleaning lady. She has her own fempire. You know, she has lots of clients. She has a team. She's making a lot of money. You know, she's doing very well. I don't think she's documented, you know, and she's built her fempire. And so for her to go and talk to other people that are like her, that would be very inspirational. You know, I mean, Diana and I don't have that background and we could give super tips, but really for them to see people like them, that is really what will make a difference for them.
Okay, I love that idea.
The other thing that I was thinking, the first thing that came to my mind is, I feel like the direct sales industry
Oh
is
yeah,
a
Diana.
great,
Yeah.
sort of other thing to do, which is not a job, which can lead to independence and
Right.
successful self-employment. So I think approaching some of the more successful direct sales companies,
Yeah.
educating people about how powerful direct sales companies are for
Yeah.
that kind of second income stream, which could become a full income stream.
Right. And they give them a ton of training and
Training
resources.
and everything. They give them a website, they give them everything. So it's really an amazing opportunity for somebody to business in a box, really.
Right. Learn about business.
And they train them with the challenges of
right
having that. So that, I think that is another viable option too.
I think that's a great idea, Diana.
Very cool. Thank you.
Now you may need a social security number to register as a rep for any of these companies, though.
Oh yeah, I know. They don't want undocumented people.
Yeah.
That's true, but people have friends.
Well,
that was recorded.
Diana, what time is the session supposed to be over?
We're supposed to be done now at 10:30.
Okay.
And then we have 10 minutes in between, and the next.
Yeah, I have to go to my breakout set. I have to go to my expo
at 10:40. Okay, well, so great to meet
Lori,
you.
it's been very nice to meet you.
Lovely meeting both of you.
Oh, Lori, are you on Clubhouse? Okay. Diana and I are doing a thing on authentic leadership tonight, so I was going to invite you. But we hopefully will connect with you.
I'll write your name down so I can find you again.
Yeah, and we're both in the program too. Our information.
And I'm going to put my information in the chat, just my contact information.
Okay.
Anna will do the same. And feel free to put your contact information in the chat for us if you like. And we look forward to connecting with you again.
Lovely. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you, Lori.
There it is.
Cool.
Awesome.
So
thanks, Lori.
All right, well, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's a good idea, I guess, to take a picture of the chat. Because I can't.
Otherwise, how do you keep it?
Well, in some platforms you can download it, but I've never worked on this platform before.
Thanks, ladies.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
I guess we can leave and then come back and.
Okay, so we don't have control over the recording, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
And hi.
Hi, Kirsten.
How are you guys?
We're great. How are you?
Good. So I was sitting in the background, and since you're one and only attendee, and I apologize for that, popped out. I was wondering, how did you feel like it's going so far?
Well, we're having a good time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think we didn't start our session till very late because there was a techno challenge. So that's probably why we didn't have more peeps in our room. And so, Kirsten, were you here for the whole session or some of the session or no?
Some of the session, yeah. I heard the JOB conversation, which I loved.
Okay. Okay.
We did have a lot of, so I'm on the advisory board and the back end admin team. We did have a lot of challenges this morning, and I'm concerned you guys did not see the announcement that the sessions would extend and the break would be shortened. So are you?
No, and also, is your name Kirsten?
Yeah.
Hi, so I'm supposed to be the moderator, and I don't appear to have any moderator ability, and maybe you're the moderator, Katerina, because you seem to see Kirsten's name, which I don't see her name anywhere. So
I do see you. I don't see my name either.
Yeah, but how do you see Kirsten's name, Katerina? I think Katerina is the moderator.
It's on the bottom of her screen.
Yeah,
in the same place as your name is.
It's not. So
interesting.
I don't know how I don't. It does. There's nothing that says you're the moderator.
And how do I know when I'm supposed to let people in? Because I'm supposed to be letting people in, and I have no moderator capacity.
Yeah,
I'm not-
that's great. Good.
So
feedback.
Diana, are
I
you
have no
like
idea.
right
I'm sorry.
at the top of my screen? It says recording.
Yes.
And then next to that, it says 3/9.
Right. And then it says 5. So there's 2 other people, I guess, which I don't know.
Mine only says 4.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be letting people in or something.
Do you have this little
I have 3 of 9 at the top.
Yeah. Right. And then next to that, there's a 5 with a little
Yeah.
eye.
Okay, I have a 4.
That's
But
interesting.
but
So I think
anyway,
you're-
I don't know who's the moderator or how to do anything about that. But is there a way to let people in? Because nobody's requesting to come in.
So which means they're listening, but they're not being able to get in.
But Kirsten just popped in.
yeah.
Maybe she knows something.
I mean,
she knows something we don't know.
We're supposed to be able to have 9 people
Right.
at one time.
Okay. And it says that there's 9. Oh, maybe it just means that there's 3 right now, but the capacity is 9.
All right. But there's now it's a 6. So
Now
there's
it's a 5.
ball next to the 3 of 9. That's a 6.
Okay. So it says, "Hi, good morning, ladies. My name is Brooke. I was able to come in right away. Brooke, we are very happy to have you. If there's a way to put your video on, then maybe
that's
we
what
have
it
the
is.
privilege of seeing you."
That's what it is, because we can't see now 7.
Interesting. So I don't see that text. I see another text from Lauren. I'm trying to get back into my panel session, but it's not.
Hi, Brooke. Are you Brooke?
I
So you
am. Hi, good morning.
Was it that you weren't showing your video? Is that why we weren't
I
seeing
didn't
you?
know. This is a new platform for me, so I didn't
Yeah,
know that that's an option. So, but now I do.
Okay, good.
For anybody who's listening, because I think there's 8 people, you have to show your video in order for us to see you. Maybe that's the challenge. We're all new to this platform.
Yeah, and we would love to see you because then we'll know you're here and we can include you in our conversation. Because we can have up to 9 people in the room, and I think we have 6, but we're only seeing 4 right now. So, or feel free to put something in the chat and let us know that you're here. We want to run a nice interactive program, so please join us on video or in the chat. Okay.
And one last question, Kirsten. So I hear you that the timing has been changed. How do we know that?
So can you surprise us when we're supposed to start?
And end and all that?
So that was one of my concerns. Is Evelyn is supposed to be kind of popping in and telling us this, but if you're not seeing the master chat like I am, you're seeing your room chat, which I am not.
Okay.
I don't know how the moderators are ever going to know.
Okay, well, we can switch. I can switch to event chat right now. So I just up there in the chat.
10:45. We have 4 more minutes on this session, and then it's a 5-minute break before we start the next session for Evelyn.
So up at the top, there's 2 ways to view a chat. There's event chat or session chat.
Mm-hmm.
So if you click on event chat, that is what we have. Sorry, Brooke.
No, don't worry about it. I mean,
okay, great. So we'll start this session officially at 10:50. Yes, and we can just have a visit with
The next session. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah. In the meantime, Brooke, hi, welcome. Tell us about yourself.
So my name is Brooke Botwinick. I was invited by, I don't know if you're familiar with Michelle Ponce. She's the communications coordinator. She's amazing. I met her through my Marymount, which is my alumni I met her on LinkedIn actually, and she's been my career coach. And so I'm very much about like women's empowerment, and I started my own organization in college called Girl Effect, which is about like empowering girls about body image, self-esteem, and educating them about like violence against women. And then like after I graduated, I started doing like teen girl groups. I worked at an assisted living home for 2 years, and now I'm out of work for now. I'm doing a lot of volunteer stuff, but I'm kind of just trying to figure it all out.
Well, welcome, Brooke.
Yeah.
Hi, Francis. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Francis. Welcome.
We're having a visit before we officially start. And my friend, when you're not speaking, please mute yourself when you're not speaking. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so then we don't have that.
Welcome, Catherine. If you would mute, Catherine, can you mute yourself? And I'll have you introduce yourself in just a second. But if you could mute yourself for now, that would be great.
Do you know how to do that?
I do not. It doesn't look like
so
it.
at the bottom, there's a panel, the little video.
There we go. They got it. They got it. Okay, beautiful. Thanks, my friends. Okay, let's hear from Francis. And then, Diana, I'll let you moderate.
No, go ahead, Katerina. You're good at it.
Okay, Francis, please introduce yourself to the room.
I'm Frances Rosner. My thing for the purpose piece now, my husband died last year in July. So I am looking at now what's my purpose. Once I get finished with some research projects that I'm working on, I'm active in AAUW. I've been president twice with that, American Association of University Women. And I ran something called, gosh, now I've just lost my mind here on this one. Trained women on how to negotiate their salary and benefits for like 3 years, and that one's gone into hiatus now because of it was a live opportunity, so that's off the table now. So that's off my plate. The STEM conference that I ran for 17 years, I'm no longer chairing. I'm still helping with fundraising, and I have a research project that we started back in 2014 to find out the effectiveness of the conference. We are just now evaluating the data, and I have to write that up. So after July, I'm kind of a free agent again.
It's going to take you 5 months to write that up, my friend? Is it going to take you 5 months to write it up?
Well, yeah, we've got data that's coming in, being evaluated, going through and working with some scientists or statisticians and looking at that. And then I have to create the report and get it marketed and up there online so people can see it. So yes, and I have to do the report back to the ones who gave us the grant to do the research. So yes, it will take months to get that done.
Okay, great. Well, Francis, thank you. Let's have Catherine introduce herself, and then we can have a discussion with everybody. Catherine, go ahead.
Hi, so my name is Catherine Orrell, and I'm a multipreneur, or trying to be. And I have a peer-to-peer support group called Grow with the Walk. You could find it on meetup.com. It's a support group for people with panic and anxiety attacks. I have a Mary Kay business, and I'm very, thank you. And I'm very active in the robotics hobbyist field in the Inland Empire. So I'm involved with, I think now 4 different clubs. I'm the co-founder of one, and I just created the tech part on Facebook groups. So I'm very active in tech and robotics. So.
Thank you, Catherine. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Diana, do you want to introduce yourself? Thank you.
Welcome, ladies, and I'm sort of the moderator of the group and participant, and I have a business. My business is Whole Heart Marketing, and what I do is I help entrepreneurs, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, to grow an authentic online presence. And one of the things that I was excited about being in this particular discussion group, because I feel like whether you have a business or you are working for another company or you don't even have a business, there's an opportunity with social media to heal the world and to use it as a powerful force for change. And even though it can be as annoying as it is, it's still a very powerful tool for us. And so my goal is to just teach and inspire people to use it for that, whether it's for causes or a positive message, which is what we so need right now. And parents teaching their kids how to use it positively. All of that is my mission. So,
Yay.
yeah. And Katerina.
Let's see. I work with women who have service-based businesses, and I support women to grow their businesses through being strategic, teaching them how to sell with authenticity, teaching them how to use public speaking, virtual or live and in person, to gain Insta clients, and how to be loud and proud about the value they bring. Diana and I have been friends, and we have many of the same clients. We have been working together for years, and we're all about women empowerment through, in my case, through entrepreneurship, in Diana's case, through social media. And I do believe that social media is necessary and awesome to expand your network, build community. And this last year, myself and my clients have all pivoted to doing their thing virtually. I do believe that I have a purpose-driven life. I know Diana does. And as for Brooke and Catherine and Francis, do you feel like you know your purpose, or are you looking for your purpose?
Pretty much my purpose is to inspire and mentor. Sorry. Pretty much my purpose is to inspire, mentor, and teach. And those are three things I'm passionate about. And I've got a wide variety to choose from. So, to work with. And that works in my favor.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Nice. Thank you, Catherine. Brooke, how about you? Brooke, you're doing a lot of good stuff. Go ahead.
I'm trying. I'm still I feel like I'm still learning my purpose. I've always been very passionate about like women's empowerment. And Francis, you were sharing about AAUW. I was very involved in that when I was in college, and I'd still loved you reminded me that that's the thing I want to go back to. And I'm also I've also been leading women's workshops and stuff. And so that's always something that I know I want to do, but I kind of just I need help and the steps to get to where I want to be. So I don't know if that answers. I hope that answers your question.
So it sounds like you have clarity on what you want. You just want some support to get there.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. Francis, how about you?
My issue is there's too many things on the table. It's narrowing it down. I've been around for a long time. I was a teacher, and I was a trainer. I was a real estate agent. I was a fundraiser. I have a lot of different skills in communications, etc. What I've narrowed down, what I do best is I make things better. That's really my purpose, is to make things better. But now it's what is it I want to make things better about now that would give me joy too. I know I'm very good at details, but I always like being drowned in details. So
okay.
What else now will give me joy and purpose and still be able to make things better?
Okay. And so I because I'm a business coach, I have to ask, Catherine's got her entrepreneurial endeavors. Francis and Brooke, are you looking at this as a potential entrepreneurial endeavor so that you can massively monetize your purpose?
No.
So you don't care about making money?
No.
Okay, good. That's good clarity to have. Okay, Brooke, how about you?
I mean, yes, I think I really love the wording of it, finding your purpose. I think that's what I'm looking to do. And I don't know, I'm 27. I'm in kind of just a weird phase in my life. I think especially with the pandemic going on, that figuring out okay, what's the next step? What am I going to do? How am I going to be able to make money to support myself and do something that I really enjoy?
Okay, great.
I want to share. So,
and then Catherine, go ahead, Diana.
So I was just thinking about what Brooke was sharing. And so I came from a corporate background. And when I call myself a recovering corporate misfit. And I wanted to be a stay-at-home and a working mom. And I turned my hobby into a business, which was being a non-denominational minister and doing marriage prep and relationship coaching. So I turned that into a business and I was actually very successful with it because I kind of cracked the code on the internet and figured out how to get to the top of Google and all of that. And then that I wanted to.
Can I interrupt just 1 second? Catherine,
Yes.
can you put yours on mute, please?
Catherine is on mute. She is muted. Oh, then you can mute her, Francis. Francis got it. Okay.
So, so I, after 20 years of that, I was very successful with it, but then I wanted to have a different life. So I morphed into the business I have now. And the interesting thing is that when I did that, I morphed into Whole Heart Marketing of help because I was so successful. I thought I would love to help purpose-driven people become more successful with their businesses by using the tools that I used with mine. But in the beginning, I thought it was a cash cow. And I was like, this is great. You know, I can make money on the internet, work from home. And I kept having this like, really, God, Facebook, really, God, Facebook, this is my life. And what happened for me was that my cash cow became my purpose. And I didn't know it until I could get past get past that whole like, well, this is a great business, but it also became my purpose. And sometimes that's how it happens. It's like we find a business, we do this thing, it's a great thing, we like it, we enjoy it, and then it's like, but is it really my purpose? And for me, that's what happened. I went way deeper into that, and the purpose of helping women be seen and be visible and having a voice became so, and that it came from that continually questioning myself of like, really, God, Facebook, because it was like, I can't believe this is my life, but now I realize how amazing it is, so it's just like, just sharing my experience, because sometimes that's how it happens, kind of through the back door.
Beautiful. Thank you, Diana. Catherine, let's hear from you.
Oops, now you're muted.
Unmute your audio. Go ahead.
Okay. It sounds like I really need to connect with you, Diana, and you, Francis, because I like what you're saying about how you work with Facebook and how you turned your passion, your hobby, into a career. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm trying to turn, I have the Mary Kay, and that works itself. But with the robotics and the mental health group, I'm turning a hobby or a passion into a business. And that's really difficult for me. So
definitely.
Well, the more you do it, the easier it gets, Catherine, for sure, to tell you.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of, Diana and I live in Northern California, but there's lots of organizations in Southern California to help women start and grow businesses as well. Hi, Leslie has joined us.
Hi, Leslie, welcome.
Catherine and I were in, I don't know if I'm in a cage. I don't know where I am, but I'm here.
Okay, well, welcome. We don't exactly know either.
It says connect or leave. I just hit connect. And
good. Welcome. Well, why don't you tell us about yourself?
What?
Tell us about yourself. Catherine, don't forget to mute please.
I am a high-end fashion stylist in the women's direct sales business. I was a teacher in Long Beach for 13 years. I was born in Long Beach. I'm living in San Juan Capistrano. I was the Purple Diamond winner last year, much to my surprise. I don't know why, but I took it. The trophy's really big, and I really like it.
That's exciting. Nice. Congratulations.
And I've been in my industry since almost 40 years, 1983. Wow. And if any of you know, it's an industry, a very small industry, done by sending invitations, getting a set of clothes from somebody else who sold them, showing the clothes, ordering the clothes, and delivering them to the client. Retail is resale. This is direct sales. So 50% of the profit goes to the company. The fabrics, these are clothes are all made in New York. Fabrics are mostly from Italy. And we sell, let's see, I start my spring show in 2 weeks. Because the world has gone upside down, I would normally be getting ready for my summer show. I usually sell spring the first week in January. So we sell 2 months ahead of the season. Not this year. And
What company are you with, Leslie?
Charlotte Brody.
Oh, I don't know Charlotte Brody. Wonderful.
It's brand new. Well, it's 3 years old. The Doncaster is the granddaddy. It started in it's 86 years old. It went under, but I left in 2000 and went with Worth, New York. And if I was just telling somebody, if you heard of Carlisle, they were both started by the same person. And then I left last year and went to Charlotte Brody.
Wonderful. Well, okay. Well, Leslie, how do you feel like this is your purpose? How are you doing? Wonderful.
We have 8 grandchildren. Frankly, the purpose is keeping a calendar straight. And my husband has had a couple of outpatient surgeries, not serious. And when they call and change the time, I swim every day at 5:30. I completely forgot to reserve a lane because they bumped him up from 2 to 8. And so I'm just not as agile as my purpose is to be agile, but it's failing me. But we have 8 grandchildren and lots of soccer and gymnastics and baseball, which we haven't been able to see for a year, and now we're sort of back at it. Yeah, I probably was not a very good teacher, as I said, but I do love sales.
Oh, well, nice. That's wonderful. I love sales too. Yay. Okay, let me ask that question. Well, the rest of you don't have to love sales necessarily, but it's definitely a good skill to have. Yay. Because selling is really service. And I think a lot of people avoid starting their own business because they don't want to sell. And that selling is really shifting your mindset to recognize that when you have your own business, it's really about being of service. Wonderful. Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions they want to throw into the floor? And I also want to ask if there's anyone who's not on video, please show yourself so we know you're here.
Right, there are some people. And you could also just put your question in the chat if you'd like, if you don't want to show your video.
Yeah.
Or.
Okay, good. Well, I'm going to throw a topic out here for us to all take a look at if no one has anything that they'd like to throw in. So I believe that living an authentic life and living on purpose is really about first getting clear on the values by which you want to run your life. And if you do have a business or even a philanthropy or volunteer work, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, that your values are congruent with whatever you're doing. In addition to my business, I also have a philanthropic endeavor. We raise money for 4 charities around the world for education for girls and women and entrepreneurship training for women and girls around the world. And so my work and my philanthropic activities are congruent because my values are congruent. So community is a high value, integrity, being of service. These are all values by which I run my business and my life. And if you're looking for your purpose, it's good to get clear on what the values are. So does anybody have any thoughts about this, about what values they incorporate in their business and their life or their work or their volunteer work? Diana, let's start with you.
Values. I think one of the most important values that for me is integrity, transparency, and even like in my business of helping people to bring an authentic presence online, it's especially important to first of all, to be authentic, to have integrity and to be honest. But I also have a really high value around, I don't exactly know it's kind of new. It's not a new value, but articulating it is a little new for me, which is, I mean, it's positivity, but it's so much deeper than that. It's choosing to inspire. I guess it's choosing to be a leader. Choosing to be a leader is a value for me. And it's really coming up for me so much right now in terms of in my business and in my personal life. And one of the things that I was thinking about, I love that question, Katarina, is also, are you a leader in your business? Are you a leader at your job? Are you a leader? Like, being a leader is being a leader everywhere, because we are everywhere and anywhere. And that's something that I have been thinking about a lot lately, because in this time, it's been kind of challenging sometimes to be a leader, just saying, being totally transparent. And so that is a huge value for me right now.
That's beautiful. Love that. Anyone else, any thoughts? And let's also welcome Leah Brinton, who said she's not able to get on video. Leah, you feel free to put any comments in the chat. Brooke, Francis, Catherine, Leslie, any thoughts?
Well, I have been a member of the Long Beach Junior League for 54 years, and I have been a sustainer, which is, we used to call the over the hill gang, but now that we're all living so long, they're more sustainers than actives. But I have been a sustaining advisor for the last 20 years. And what that means is I am the voice of wisdom on a committee. Usually I'm just the voice, but these young women who have chosen to give back to the city in so many ways, and almost all of them work full time, are just so impressive. So I'm there to mentor and teach them leadership, but it's really been the reverse. I have learned so much more from them. The stick-to-itiveness, the determination that not every day is a perfect day, but every day is an okay day. And to have fun. That's one of the things that I really believe, if we're living our authentic self, our life, that it ought to be fun. Some of it really ought to be fun. And that's a main factor for me to be in it. If it's not fun, I shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leslie. I would definitely, and see, that's one of your values.
Yeah.
Leslie, is fun. Beautiful.
I have to laugh every day.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Beautiful. How about Brooke? How about you?
I love what all of you had to say. I don't know if I can beat that, but I think that
we're not in competition.
I think that I've really realized over the past few years that one of my main values is respect. And I was very much disrespected in my former job, and it just really lowered my self-esteem a lot.
Yeah.
And realizing the value of being respected and treating others with respect. And I think that, like, in any business or career, I think that like holds a lot of leverage, or at least for me.
That's important. Well, that's the thing. It's your value, so you get to have it any way you want, Brooke. If if that's what's important to you, that's what's important to you. Beautiful. Thank you.
Great.
Catherine, Francis, would you like to share?
One more time, what are we sharing about exactly?
Values, so what's something that you realize that is a really important value for you? Because that we would want that to be present with whatever you're doing for your vocation.
As I get older, I agree with Brooke. Respect has got to be there. But also it's representation and diversity. I don't see people who look like me in the fields I'm in. I'm in the first 3 robotics groups I've been in, all male. I'm the only female who participates, and it's just frustrating. And it's even harder when I look at the African American side of things, It's just we're not out there. I just finished co-authoring a book called It's All About Showing Up.
Love it.
And the power is in the asking.
Great.
Thank you. It's on
Leslie,
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart's.
Excuse me one second. Leslie, can you just make sure to mute so we don't have the feedback?
Nothing's happening.
That's okay, Leslie. Everybody, you can mute Leslie yourself. Also.
I don't think I can. That's
okay.
Okay.
I think it's Catherine.
So
go ahead, Catherine.
Sorry.
The book is doing very well, and basically what it's about is there's 45 of us who co-authored it for a friend of ours named Robbie Motter. And Robbie's all Robbie? Yeah, Robbie's the founder of Global Society for Female Entrepreneurs, and she's her whole thing is to tell women, show up.
Right.
Ask for what you need. And we just don't do it enough. And we overlook these two simple rules in life. And, as a result, we're not representing, our demographic like we should be. So that's a big deal for me to get that message out there and, her legacy.
Beautiful. Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
Frances, let's go to you.
That one. For me, I think it's commitment. One of them is when people say something, that's what I do. When I promise to do something, I'm going to deliver on this one. That's really important for me on a value on that one. I like Leslie's thing about fun. I don't think I have enough fun in some of my stuff, but mine is really powering through and making sure that there's information out there that people can utilize. So I work on long-term projects, things that keep going and going and going, and improvement. That's the other thing, making it better. So every year we did the STEM conference, we'd get together in committees and we'd improve. And how are we doing this? But then it got to the point of how do we share with the world? Is it really making a difference? Evaluate it. Because I was a fundraiser, and if you want to raise money, you need to be able to make the case.
Right. You need to show results.
You need to show results.
Beautiful.
So it's been a long project. I'm working on that too. And
great.
I think one of the things I do really well is pulling in people with skills, et cetera. One of the jobs I used to have when I worked for Century 21 was recruiting and training, and it's matching up people with skills and finding out where they do best. And so I also did volunteer management a lot. So you have to be able to deliver on what you say you're going to do. And I'm really disappointed when people don't do that.
Right.
So.
Thank you. Thank you, Frances. And I'm going to say, because I've been talking about this lately, Frances, that when we think of integrity, we often think about honesty. Integrity is actually what you said, Frances. It's doing what you said you're going to do. It's also doing what you said you're going to do when you said you're going to do it. That's integrity. And being your word, right? Because if you said you're going to do it, then you're being your word. That's integrity. That's beautiful. Thank you, Frances. Well, Frances, you made me think of something else very important that I'd like to throw out there, which is because Frances, you said that you're really good at bringing people together, right? Which we would say is a leadership skill and a skill overall to support you in your purpose. And one of the things that we don't do as women often enough is rave about ourselves. And so I would like to ask everybody to think about one skill that you feel supports you in your work or your purpose or your mission. And Diana, I'm going to start with you again, and we'll go around the circle again. Unless there's any hot topic that you all feel you would like us to shine the spotlight on.
Hold on, in the chat, it says, I'd love if we could all share our LinkedIn pages and our websites. Oh, before the session is over. Okay, sure. And then wait, one more. Here's Leah. Leah says, taking responsibility for my life and acknowledging that the choices I make have a direct impact on the way things are going to happen for myself is my baby step currently. Beautiful. Whether it's how I choose to respond to someone, am I going to follow through with something I need to submit, and so on. Thank you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you.
Yeah. So good. Okay, there's the information. Thank you, Leslie. So are we on that topic?
Well, if you like, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I think that my gift is about really inspiring people to have courage to be as visible as they want to be and to have the voice they want to have in the world. Because I think for people who weren't born with a mouse in their hand, and maybe even some who were, the internet can be a very scary thing, and it can cause people to feel way too vulnerable and overexposed. And I think that my gift is helping people through that with having the courage to do it, and the skills, and the just like that sort of whatever it takes to get past whatever we need to get past to be as visible and have the voice we need to have to heal the world. And that's my gift and my passion.
Beautiful. Thank you, Diana. Love it. Brooke, how about you?
I think that my gift, or like what first comes to mind is creativity. Like I'm a very creative person, and I like to use that in my everyday life. And also I'm a very like generous person. So like just giving with like my whole heart and being there for others, and listening and having compassion. I think that those are my main gifts.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. Leslie, would you like to go? Oh. Go ahead, Leslie. You want to start again? You're muted, my friend. You have to unmute. There you go. Go ahead.
My parents wanted all my life, so I was reared by a mother and father with a grandmother in the house that loved to entertain. And to Frances' point, I'm really good at bringing people together at a dinner table. I've had a few flops, and they're worthy of a book, but it's not going to be written. But my husband, who's a retired Episcopal priest, he and I love to cook together. And so when we're having company, he and I put the meal together. He does, sometimes I do the prep, he does the prep. And it's really a way of breaking bread and having communion with people. There hasn't been a lot of that going on, but we often will make dinner and take it to friends who have not wanted to drive to San Juan or were a little infirm. And that's been one of our joys. I think, but Frances hit it on the head. I think the ability to bring people together, I've never thought of it as a gift, but I do it a lot, and I've loved doing it, but mainly I've done it over food and wine. And
I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Wonderful. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you. Well, Leslie, I would probably say that what goes along with bringing people together is being a welcoming and gracious host, which I think is a very important skill also, making people feel welcome and included, and is part of that.
Thank you. I didn't think about that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Catherine, would you like to share?
So one more time, we're sharing what makes us valuable or skills.
A skill that you have that you want to shine the spotlight on that supports you with your purpose.
I love encouraging people
Beautiful.
and hiring people and doing mentorship and tutoring. So that all runs together.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Francis, how about you?
Me of something when I was trying to find new work or jobs, or when I got laid off. My greatest skill and what I enjoy doing is making connections. So when I was a real estate agent, it was matching people to housing, and when I was in fundraising, it was matching donors to their passions. And so when I do volunteers, it's matching them to what their skill set is. And I think I have to go back and look at what, for me, I should be connecting with to do this, because my joy is really making connections. And so it's, how do I improve something by making the right connections and do that.
Right.
And so it's listening to people, finding out what they want, what they need, and making the connections so it makes things better. That's my skill, is connections, making connections, and analyzing the situation to find out. So I have analytical skills, looking at the big picture, and I have leadership skills. I've been a president of so many organizations, and the main thing is to do strategic planning and make sure, what do we do next, and where does it go, and how do we bring on board everybody together? Because I have a degree in organizational management. The only way you make change happen is to get everybody on board.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Thank you. Thank you, Francis. Well, you know, I definitely consider myself a good encourager, as Catherine said. And my mother, Leslie, was a school teacher, and she, when we had a birthday party, she would invite all the kids in the class because she didn't want any kids to be left out. And so I feel like she modeled being welcoming and inclusive to me at an early age. And I definitely consider myself inspiring. The thing that I would say that is one of my biggest skills is my ability to take immediate action. I do not get ready to begin to think about getting going. I do not believe patience is a virtue, especially when you're self-employed. So I'm all about figuring it out while you're doing it. And I would say that that has really served me in my business and my life, and that it's a skill really that I want more women to embrace. Right now, Diana and I tonight are hosting a room on Clubhouse. I don't know if any of you are on Clubhouse, and you're welcome to join us at 5 o'clock. We're going to be talking about authentic leadership. And the thing is, you know, I was on Clubhouse for, I don't know, a day maybe before I started hosting rooms, because I do believe that it's in the doing that you figure things out and that you move towards mastery and you build skill. And I really would like more women to do that, because I think a lot of women are very hesitant, and they're very attached to looking perfect or looking good. And that if we're willing to, you know, not look good or be perfect, I think it makes us more accessible and makes us more endearing to people when we say, hey, you know, I don't have this figured out either, and let's do it together. So I would say that's my biggest skill that I bring to my work. Okay, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Now we have Diana.
I think we have a break. Let me see. They changed the time a little bit, so let me go back and look at the time. We might be on getting ready to have our break now. That is not right. It is. Let's see. We are from 11:20 to 11:25 is a break.
Okay.
To go into the other rooms, and then we have another group at 11:25.
Okay, great. So my friends, feel free to put your contact information in the chat. I am looking forward to looking at your websites and connecting with you all on LinkedIn. Please connect with Diana and I We've put our information in the chat. Feel free to join us on Clubhouse at 5 o'clock if you feel like it, and you can stay for our next session if you like. In the conversation,
Didn't change.
hey, my friend. I guess you refreshed your browser.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Diana and I would love to chat with all of you. So please put your video on so we can see your beautiful face if you're up for it. And then we can include you in the conversation.
For your comments in the chat, if you have something you would like to share.
Or talk about, or a question, or hot topic, or anything. We are here to support you, to find your purpose, live your purpose, bliss in your purpose.
Whether it's in your work or your
rock your purpose. Yes. If not, Diana and I will have a nice conversation.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so right now it is just you and me. Okay, so now we have 3 people: Corinne, Morgan, and Jacqueline. Welcome.
And now, how do you know we have Corinne, Morgan, and Jacqueline? I don't see.
Okay, so when you look in the chat, if you click on people instead of chat.
Okay. See, that's exciting. Okay, Corinne, Morgan, Jacqueline, welcome.
Feel free to show your video if you would like to be seen. And otherwise, you can put your comments, questions, excitement in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And
great.
We will watch.
Right. Okay. Well, so Diana, why don't we just have a conversation about this hot topic, and everyone can chime in if they like, because I guess I don't like dead air time.
Okay.
And we can refresh if somebody joins us. How does that sound, my friend?
That sounds good. You go ahead and start.
Okay, great. Well, what I would say is that I guess what I want to ask you, because you're like me, we've been doing this a long time. Diana and I met about 30 years ago, Diana?
Yeah.
That we met. And, I was at a women in business and professional women meeting. And Diana Morgan walked in with her big smile and your big hair, just like you have now, my friend, fabulous. And you were carrying a stack of magazines, and you were the saleswoman for City Woman magazine.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I was so impressed that there was a City Woman magazine. I was so impressed with you, and we became Insta BFFs, and we've been friends for a long time. And of course, our businesses and our lives have taken very circuitous routes to get us where we are here today. One of the things that I would say about you is that you have always been a very positive person. And you said in the last session that was very important. Let's ask this question. What are some of the things that you think are important, Diana, for us to be living a purposeful life?
That's a great question. And before I start, I want to say, Jacqueline, I'm sorry that you keep getting booted out, and you can listen, but you can also put your comments or questions or anything in the chat as well. I know that's frustrating.
Where's my doorbell? That might be my mailman. 1 second.
At the very beginning of this, my power at my house went out right at the beginning, so I understand the frustration. So,
inside the gate, please. That would be awesome.
Talking about, let's wait for Katerina to come back.
Go ahead, my friend. I'm listening.
Okay, so what's important to me in living a life of purpose? I can just say in general, overall, I'm a purpose-driven person. And so pretty much everything in my entire life has to be about that. And I actually realized that at a very young age. And that was part of the problem when I was in my corporate job. The the recovering corporate misfit in me was that I just didn't fit in. And I couldn't, like, I don't know, it was just that all it meant to me was at that time of my life, I just wanted to make money. And I wasn't really, money, power, and prestige, right? I'm willing to work. I want to make as much as a man, and I'm willing to work twice as hard for it. That was my motto. And I almost killed myself trying to do it. And what I realized from that, and I mean, I walked away from my corporate life very young. I was like in my early 30s. Partially it was to be a stay-at-home and a working mom, and partially it was because I realized that everything about my life has to be about purpose. And I'm really on this thing about leadership and how much it is intertwined with purpose. That each of us, a lot of times I hear people say like, oh, well, I'm not a leader, I kind of do it from behind. And I'm a total introvert. But what I know is that even if we are not leading extrovertedly and showing out in the world, we're still leading in our own lives. And we're leading in our families, and we're leading in our communities. And I think the qualities that we have to maintain are, one of them for me is always trying to see the bigger picture, always trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. Always trying to, take that 30,000 foot view of like, okay, trying to see both sides, trying to be fair about, when I about all the different things going on in the world, and trying to take a spiritual perspective. Those are all things for me that are important about being a purposeful person. And I have a ton of young people in my life, and millennials and the Gen X's and even youngers. And it's like, it's so important to be there for them, for all of us on this side of that curve, to be there for them. And that's another thing I know that's part of my purpose. So those are some things that are important to me. I'd love to hear from you and people who are in the chat, put your comments in the chat if you can't access the video or audio. But in the meantime, Katarina, let's hear from you.
Well, as you were talking and as I'm posing this question, we talked in our last session about the values by which we run our business, our life, everything we do. And I'm thinking more about the times, the tough times and the challenging times, and really those moments when I'm thinking of one particular moment, Diana, which my history, that I was in my marriage, that my husband said to me, hey, I went to bed thinking that everything was fine, and I woke up, my husband having to advise me that he had accumulated a mountain of debt, unbeknownst to me, that was actually jeopardizing my business at this point. And it's back to that discussion we had about integrity and about being, I'm not going to be the woman who makes excuses. I'm not going to make the woman that says, well, it's not my fault. I am going to be the woman that fulfills my commitments, of course, to my clients and to my business. And I guess my point is that it's not always easy to live on purpose and live an authentic life. And that it's when we have challenges that it actually gives us more clarity. That gave me more clarity. No, this is important to me. Being my word is important to me. Being in integrity is important to me. And I don't care, like you said, Diana, I don't care if I have to work twice as hard. I'm going to be my word. And, because there are people that make excuses. There are people that, I remember I bought a piece of land in New Mexico that I still own. If anybody wants to visit New Mexico, and we were a group of people doing a development project, and I invested in addition some money for the development project. And then, at some point the lady had excuses as to why the project wasn't moving forward, and everybody lost their money. So, you can, And that's okay because it's all part of life. But my point is, you can have excuses or you can do what you have to do to fulfill your commitments. And I believe that that is a big, important part of being authentic, is being willing to be uncomfortable so that you can be your word, because all we really have in life is our reputation, right? And I just watched that movie the other night, Molly's Game. Have you watched that?
No.
I didn't really like the movie overall, but the point is that she was all about being her word and keeping integrity. And, it's not always easy. So I would say that that's something that separates the regular women from the amazing women.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking another aspect of purpose is choice. And I know that for me, like I have had to continually choose and re-choose everything in my life. And sometimes we have things in our life and we have to look at our life and go, okay, if I believe what I believe all the time, then I have chosen everything that's in my life. So I'm going to either change it or re-choose it. And, for me,
that's a super tip right there. I'm going to change it or re-choose it. I think that's very significant, Diana, because, we can complain about it. Well,
right.
Okay, sweetheart, you have a choice. You can change it or you can re-choose it.
Right. And because for me, so, as you know, Katerina, I reached a point 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years ago in July, my husband of 28 years became suddenly ill and passed away in 7 months. And so I spent that entire year helping him pass, and then another year or two grieving, and then a year of being really, the stress of it all just caused me to become very sick. And coming back from that, it was like I had to re-choose. I had to re-choose my life, re-choose my purpose. I had to say, like, okay, who am I now? Who am I now in the face of this? And I had to re-choose every single thing in my life. And honestly, there were some people who didn't get re-chosen. And, and there were some things in my life that didn't get re-chosen. And, I think that's part of having a life of purpose. That's what happened to me when I was in my career, is that I did not choose that. I chose making a lot of money. I didn't choose that business. And then I realized, like, okay, what I do is more important to me than how much money I make. I want to have both, but I have to choose. Where I live is more important than what I live in. It's this constant choosing the quality that I want in my life, and choosing my friends, and choosing everything, every single thing in our lives. And it's very empowering when we make those kind of choices. And even things like, okay, so maybe I'm not choosing this 100% right now, but I'm choosing it because I want to get to the next thing. And so, like, for example, when my son was in, after college, in his first job, he was, struggling with a lot of the company politics, if you will. And I told him, I said, you have to choose this job. Even if you work for a company, we are all still self-employed, and that person happens to be writing the check. And I told him, you have to choose this, or you have to walk away from it, because he was walking around with a chip on his shoulder, which is exactly what I had done in my job. And so everything is about choosing, and continually coming back to, why am I here? Who am I? What is the way that I can contribute to making the world a better place?
And making the world a better place, making your life better, making the life better for those people that we serve. And, Diana, you mentioned about the chip on the shoulder. A complaint is an unstated request. Right. And oftentimes so if somebody's complaining, that means there is a request that they're not making. And sometimes the request is with ourselves. If somebody's complaining about their job, they can make a request in their workplace to their employer, or they can make a request to themselves that, hey, what kind of job do I want? Or what kind of work environment do I want? In our first session with one of our participants, she was saying that she loved her job and then she got a new boss,
Right.
And then she chose rather than sticking around, she chose to leave. And of course, as we know, because of what she shared, now she's having a super authentic, amazing life, doing exactly what she loves for who she wants to serve. And it really all comes out of her willingness to make a choice, as you're saying, and make a change. Beautiful.
Right. Courage. Does anybody who's here, I know there's people here in the chat. Does anybody want to make a comment, or you can share what you want to share and I'll read it so that
or you
can know about you. Yeah, ask a question. I know people are struggling a little bit with
technology
and with the video. How do you find your purpose?
Okay, great question. Do you want me to start, Diana?
Sure, you start and then I'll go.
Okay. So one of the things that I pay attention to when I'm talking to people is what lights them up. Okay. What are I say, hey, tell me about you. Tell me about what you're up to. Tell me about what you're doing. And when they start to talk about something and their eyes get big and they have more vitality in their voice, I say, hey, maybe that's your thing. I'm gonna give an example, Diana, if I may. I have a client. She's comes from financial services. She actually has her own firm doing financial consulting for wineries. We live in Northern California, where there's a lot of wineries. Anyway, so that's her business. And she just comes to me. She wants to grow her business. Every single time she comes to class, this is a couple of years ago, every single time she comes to class, she's talking about, hey, I just ran this marathon. And hey, I just traveled to Niagara Falls and I ran this marathon. And every time she's talking about her race, she's lit up like a Christmas tree. Every time she's talking about her business, she's got a faccia lunga, that's Italian for long face. She's like, she's like, nah, right? So I said to her, my friend, we got to monetize your racing because that's what you really love. And of course, she looks at me like, Katerina, what are you talking about? I can't monetize racing. Well, here it is 2 years later. Last year, she started her Women in Motion business. She takes women on a 24-week virtual now journey to improve their health and fitness. And she's massively monetizing it. I just finished my second 3-month class. Diana's starting next week of the class, and she's totally monetizing her running and she's blissing. I have a card right here from her that I put here in case I get depressed. So I look at it. It says, I'm a completely different person from where I was when you first met me, and I'm blissing in my new life. It makes me so happy to read that because we identified what really lights her up. So that's a place to look, Morgan. What really lights you up? Diana, your thoughts?
So, yeah, that's great. I know who you're talking about, and it's like it's a great story.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll share like how I found my purpose. So I've done many different things. I've had many different lifetimes in this lifetime. I've had a corporate past life. I sold, as Katerina said, I sold magazine advertising and helped to promote a women's magazine. I'm a non-denominational minister, and I do wedding ceremonies and marriage prep and relationship coaching for 20 years. And now I have this business teaching people how to grow an online presence. And so for me, it's like, if you looked at all those things, you would go like, well, what is her purpose? And what happened for me, I took one of those, I call it that cosmic kick in the butt seminar, where it was kind of like the landmark of the 90s. And what I got from that was that I have a personal mission statement. And my personal mission statement is that, that I help people take the next step in their lives, whatever that is, if they want to. mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever it is. And so everything that I do comes from that place. So I've had all these different ways to do that, but it all comes back to my purpose in life is to help people. And so that's the bottom line. That's what lights me up, is helping people. So it happens that right now, helping people, what lights me up about helping people is giving women a voice, helping us all come up together and helping us to transform things that need to be transformed in our lives, in our communities, and in the world. And so I think a lot of times people get caught up in the thing they do is the purpose. And I loved what you said in one of the other group sessions, Katarina. It's who we be. It's who we be. And that is where our purpose comes from. And, the person that Katarina's talking about who transformed herself made her thing she loves into her business is that she is so inspired to help people get past that whole thing around exercise and running and walking and and she was like the most unlikely person to do that, and now she's doing it, and she's experienced so much joy from it that she wants that for other people. And I think that first of all, I don't think we all just have one purpose in life. I think we can have many different purposes at different times in our lives, and we have to continually be asking ourselves, like, again, who am I now? What is my purpose? And then there are many different ways to express our purpose in our lives, whether it be through the family, through our family, through our work, through our friends, just through the people that we inspire. So it's a really massively huge question. And it's an opportunity for us to it's not always the same answer. It changes throughout our lives.
Yeah, right. And that's why it's important to continually look at. I encourage my friends to look at it every year. Hi, Catherine. Thanks so much for joining us. I know Catherine, she's a fabulous gal.
Hi, Catherine. Welcome. Anybody can show their video? Or great question, Morgan. Does anyone else
show your video and jump on? And
does anyone else have any other questions or comments or?
Oh, thank you, Morgan. I'm so glad that this was helpful for you. And another thing is you want to look at, and if you're not sure what lights you up these days, you can also look at what lights you up in your life in the past.
Right. Right, exactly.
Think about your happiest days. I remember one of my happiest days when I was a kid was when I got the lead in the school play. And, and I think it wasn't so much about the school play, but it was leadership. And I always enjoyed anything leadership. And another one of my favorite days when I was young was when I got a yes from, I went to Catholic school, when I got a yes from the head nun that I could run a blood drive. And our school had never had a blood drive. And I did the first blood drive at my school, and they did it for many years after that. So again, it was, if I look at it, it wasn't so much the blood drive as it was like my idea was embraced, and I got to be the leader of this thing. So, look at what is it that's lit you up in your life if you're trying to find your purpose. And I do think it's important to look at it over and over. I reevaluate every year. What are my top values by which I want to run my business and my life? Who do I want to serve? That continues to evolve. At first it was just women, and then it was women in business, and then it was women in business who like to speak. And now it's women over 40 who like to speak and really see their work as their mission. So it evolves and it can change.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the end. We have about 2 more minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody would like to, anybody has any closing thoughts or comments, I think that they want us to be back in the main room and also maybe check out the expo for a few minutes.
Yeah. So Catherine, I'm looking at your comment, that mentoring, watching sports. My friend, I don't know how to make that purpose work, but
Basketball.
if you enjoy it. But Catherine, you ending human trafficking lights you up. That's awesome. And I'm going to say, Catherine, because I know you personally a little bit, like this is about stepping up, leading, using your voice for good, which I know you're very good at. You have a lovely way about you. And that, stepping into philanthropy, which I've done now for, it's probably 10 years now that we've been having our giving community. We used to have a giving circle. Now it's just part of our community. And we have a commitment to raise money for women and girls on a regular basis. One of the things I've studied, and I know that there's a lot of ladies here that are good at fundraising. I've really studied fundraising because it's like sales, only it's different, right? And Lynn Twist wrote the book, The Soul of Money. And if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. It's not about fundraising. It's about our relationship to money. And anyway, I encourage everybody to take a look at that and I know money is a big theme for today. But, that's a skill that I want to develop is fundraising and being an even better fundraiser. And I think that sometimes we don't maybe pursue our purpose because we think, well, yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know how to do that. Well, guess what? You're super smart. You can learn. You can learn how to speak. You can learn how to raise money. You can learn how to run a nonprofit. You can learn how to enroll volunteers. These are all skills that we can learn because when your purpose is bigger than any objections you have, then you figure it out. That's what I want. Like I started this giving circle. I didn't know anything about philanthropy. I didn't know anything about fundraising. I don't know anything about anything, and we've had some very successful times. We just did in December, we raised $12,000 in one day. Man, that was awesome. Right. So you don't have to know how to do it. You just have to have a desire to do it. Catherine is saying she's using the Soul of Money in her. Oh, that's awesome. Her women's youth events now that they've been a Rotarian for over 10 years. That's so exciting. That's awesome. Beautiful. Thank you, Catherine. You started a human trafficking giving circle. My friend, that's awesome. Why don't you invite me sometime? I would love to come. Well, I don't know if you're doing it virtual because I'm in Northern California, but please invite me. Beautiful.
Okay.
Hey, Diana, let's tell everybody. Okay, on the topic of leadership, tonight, Diana and I are hosting an event at 5 p.m. on Clubhouse. And come talk about authentic leadership. Catherine, if you're there, please come. And everyone else, please come.
And search for us on Clubhouse at Diana Concuff Morgan and at Katerina Rando.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, it was such a pleasure. Thank you for being with us. I think we're all heading back to the main room in the expo and have a fantastic rest of the day. Okay, I'm gonna leave and go back to the main room.
We're going back to the main room. When is the event over? 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's see. I think I'll do stage.
Oh, let me save the chat first. Oh, how do you save the chat?
I just copied the whole thing because I couldn't really figure out how to just save it. So you just start at the top and
yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'll make a new note for my thing. Okay.
All right. You're welcome. Take care, Morgan. Okay, I'm heading back to the stage.
Okay.
Let's see if I get kicked out.